the top served as a beacon. Most of Rook's childhood had been like climbing this stairwell, gloomy and solitary, light and knowledge just beyond reach. While attending Eton, he'd begun to hear about his father's exploits, the Earl of Elverton's ravenous lust, his countless mistresses, and his numerous bastards, the latter two groups spread far and wide over London, and beyond to the farthest corners of England. But the most vicious rumour of all, the most hurtful, the one he'd furiously hated and bloodied several noses over, and had his own bloodied a time or two, was that his mother, the present Countess of Elverton, had been the naughtiest, most lascivious, and most favoured paramour of his father before he'd taken her to wife. Eventually the truth had won out, and Rook now knew that she'd given birth to 3 of the Earl's illegitimate sons. His father had delivered each to a baby farmer, with the hope that they would die as a result of the woman's lack of attention. Many foundlings did. However, Aidan had been given to Etty Truelove, a widow who had raised him as though she'd given birth to him herself. A few years earlier, Rook had met Aidan when the man had saved their mother from being murdered by her very own husband. Rook had never been particularly fond of his sire, but he certainly hadn't envisioned that the fellow responsible for his existence was capable of such a vile act. The Earl's brutal encounter with Aidan had resulted in their father barely surviving an apoplectic fit that had left him incapacitated and bedridden. Rook reached the top of the stairs and stepped onto the landing. Farther down, the corridor had a half wall that allowed one to look out over the main gaming floor, but here draperies provided a hidden alcove. To his right was another set of carpeted stairs that led up to the rooms Aidan had inhabited before he married. Rook knew he sometimes still used them when responsibilities kept him working late, but he'd purchased a small residence where he lived with his wife and son. However, he had his heart set on acquiring a larger estate. Rather than go up those stairs, Rook leaned against the wall, awaiting Aidan's arrival. He supposed he should be tempted to peer between the part in the draperies, to possibly discover who might be visiting this evening, but he believed people were entitled to their secrets. Certainly he had his. He heard the echo of footsteps as someone dashed up the stairs. In short order, Aidan emerged from the darkness into the light. Even after all this time, Rook was still taken aback by their similarities in appearance. Dark hair, dark eyes, strong jaw. Their father's jaw. Aidan was slightly taller and a bit broader, his body having adjusted to the physical labours demanded of him when he was younger. He grinned. "How are you, brother?" That address also always took Rook a little off guard. He had no legitimate siblings. Before this man had come into his life, he'd known none of his father's leavings. Now he also knew Finn, another of his father's byblows, given to Etty Truelove 6 weeks after Aidan. Apparently, the Earl had possessed an insatiable appetite for bedding women, never content with enjoying one at a time. He'd been unfaithful not only to his wife, but to his lovers. "I'm well, but bring upsetting news." Aidan took a step forward, his brow creasing deeply. "About mother?" "No, father. I don't give a bloody damn about that degenerate. He can go straight to the devil as far as I'm concerned. It appears he'll be making that journey soon enough."